Alright, so we are going to do another haul today. So I have this giant bag of books that I want to show you. So let's just dive in. I'm just going to go from top to bottom. Some of these books are from a secondhand bookstore. Some of these books are from my local bookstore. Starting from the top, we have The Miniaturist by Burton. So some of these books I have some idea of what they're about. Some of these books, like this one, I have pretty much no idea what they're about. It is a historical fiction. So it's about someone who creates little miniature figures called a miniaturist, and there's something eerie going on with the miniature figures in the new house that this woman, Nella Ortman, has arrived in Amsterdam. And yeah, it's a bit of a creepy mystery novel, so it sounds pretty cool. Sorry, excuse, it's still got its price tag on it. That might seem like a lot from a secondhand bookstore, but $10.80 in Australia is actually really cheap for books. Anyway, yeah, so I don't really know much more about this book. My friend that I was with, my friend Michelle, who you've seen on this channel before, she and I were doing shopping together. She was showing me this bookstore, and she said that she thought that I would really like it. So it looks really cool. I'm excited to read it. I do have another Burton book, which is The Confession, and I have yet to read it. I've had it for over a year now, so hopefully I'll get around to reading one or both of these books soon. Alright, diving straight into the bag again, and we have The Secrets We Kept by Lara Prescott. So it says, 2 female spies, a band, masterpiece, the power to change history. So it is I think it's going to be a literary fiction thriller to do with spies and to do with missing paintings and yeah, all of that sort of thing. One of my cats has just come to say hello. Yeah, so I thought that sounded really cool, so I'm excited to read that one. Cat just jumped down. Alright, the next book is actually the reason why I bought the Secrets We Kept, because it was 2 for the price of 1, and that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I haven't read any Laini Taylor before. I have heard a lot of people say how much they love Laini Taylor. She sounds like the kind of author that I would really enjoy her work, so I'm really intrigued to read this one. So it sounds like it is a urban fantasy mystery novel, and like I said, I've heard lots of great things about Laini Taylor and about this duology. I believe this is the first one in the duology. I really hope that's the case, otherwise I'll have another book to buy. But yes, I believe that it is, so that one there. Okay, so next up we have The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. So this is a book that once again I bought when I went secondhand book shopping with my friend Michelle. So this is another book that I don't really know very much about. Michelle said that she thought I would like it, and we don't have exactly the same taste, but we know each other's taste pretty well, so when one of us says the other will like a book, we usually tend to agree. So I thought, why not? So it's a memoir about a dysfunctional family and about this one particular person growing up in this family and overcoming the obstacles and figuring out how to live through that dysfunction and the trauma. So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be hard-hitting, sounds like it's going to be interesting, and that's about as much as I know about it, so there you go. Diving in again, and this time we have The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So those people that have been around for a little while and have been watching my videos for a while, you would know that I purport to be very big on fantasy, and yet I've never read any fantasy by Brandon Sanderson. I have now read his 2 young adult science fiction, but I only read those this year, and I've never read any of the other books. So I am planning at some point in the not too distant future to dive into some Brandon Sanderson. When I found this at the bookstore, secondhand bookstore, again for quite cheap Australian currency. Don't know if you can see that, but it's $10.80. I thought that it seemed like an excellent place to start. So yeah, I'm really excited to read some more Brandon Sanderson and dive into his adult fantasy. I'm not sure when I'll get to this, but I'm definitely very intrigued and would like to at least start some of his adult fantasy before the end of this year. And I'm thinking I might vlog reading this one at least, but we'll see how we go. So anyway, that was Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Oh, I should say also that I've actually heard quite a few people, and my friend Alison, who I've been buddy reading with, has said that it might be better to start with Elantris or Mistborn rather than The Way of Kings. So if you could comment below if you're a Sanderson fan and let me know what you think, that'd be great. All right. Next one is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. So this is her first book in the Bone Season trilogy. Again, if you've been watching for a while, you know that I read The Priory of the Orange Tree a couple of months ago. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I will link the video in which I talk about that June's wrap up in the description below if you want to know my thoughts about The Priory of the Orange Tree. But yeah, I loved it and I really wanted to start reading some more of Samantha Shannon's work. So again, secondhand bookstore, found it for cheap. So I pretty much literally jumped on it, kind of almost pushed Michelle out of the way to get to it, even though there was only like 3 other people in the store at the time. But anyway, yeah, so I don't really know much about this. I know it's fantasy, I think it's young adult, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited to read some more Samantha Shannon, so that one. Alright, next up out of the bag is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Now, I've read this a couple of times previously, but I only own it on my e-reader, which is fine, but I just really like owning physical books, and I love this book, and I loved it a lot more than I thought I would, and both times I've read it now I just really adored it. So I thought, again, since it was only $10.80, it was worth buying. I wouldn't necessarily have gone out of my way to get it, certainly not full price, but when you come across something like this in a secondhand bookstore, what are you going to do? Okay, and then the next one is Bones of the Lost by Kathy Reichs. So I've read a few Kathy Reichs before. She has quite a lot in the Temperance Brennan series. There's definitely an order to them, but I don't think you have to read them in order by any means. I certainly haven't been. For those of you that don't know, you may already know, but I don't think Kathy Reichs is super popular on BookTube. So anyway, the TV show Bones, which was the TV show where there is a woman who is a forensic anthropologist, and she is very sort of doesn't really understand human emotions, and then she works with an FBI agent who is very emotional and all over the place. Anyway, it's a very good show. If you haven't watched it, I recommend. Anyway, the TV show Bones is based on these books, and the character of Temperance Brennan is based on the character of in these books. So when I found that out, I thought, why not have a try? And yeah, I quite like Kathy Reichs. I wouldn't say she's my favourite author of all time, but I definitely enjoy her books. They're definitely worth a read. So again, this was quite cheap. So again, why not? Okay, so while I was in the secondhand bookstore with Michelle, I came across The Girl Who Played with Fire and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest by Stieg Larsson. Now, anyone that has watched my favourite series video, I will link it below, would know that the Millennium series, which is what these two are from, is one of my favourite series, except that I didn't actually ever own them because I read my flatmate's copy. She's no longer my flatmate and she lives in a different state, so I can't borrow her books anymore. So when I found these for quite cheap in the secondhand bookstore, I had to buy them. So like I said, The Girl Who Played with Fire and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. However, these are not these are the second and third books. So I was then, I don't even remember where, but I was then somewhere else. I think it was, well, it probably was just another secondhand bookstore, different day, and I just happened to see this one, so I picked it up because obviously when you've got the second and third books, you need the first book. And like I said, these are some of my favourite books. I really love the movies as well. I've only seen the Swedish language versions, so maybe I should watch the American ones. But anyway, really love those movies as well. I think they're really well done, and yeah, I just really, really enjoy these books. I said this in the previous video where I talked about them. I will say it again. Major trigger warnings for just about anything you can think of. So definitely don't read them if you are triggered by any kind of violence, any kind of assault, any kind of misogyny, anything like that. But if you can handle anything like that, if you like thrillers, then I definitely recommend them. So I found the Millennium series. And lastly in this haul is a book that well, apart from the Millennium series, which I'm very excited about, except that I've read them, so, you know, as far as books I haven't read yet that I'm super excited about, I also picked up Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Now, I have never read any Sarah J. Maas. I've been uncertain about whether or not to read any Sarah J. Maas, but obviously this book came out this year. It's been super hyped. Everyone has been really excited about it. Most people that have been watching it, reading it, I should say, have seemed to really, really enjoy it. I did watch Becca from Becca and the Books video where she was talking about reading order for Sarah J. Maas books, and she suggested maybe not reading this one first because it's her best one so far, but it's the one that I found in a secondhand bookstore, and I love the cover, which I'm sure if you've seen it around BookTube, most people have been saying that. But yeah, it just sounds really interesting and really intriguing, so I definitely really, really want to read some Sarah J. Maas, although like I said, I've been a bit nervous about it. So I think because I'm a bit nervous about it, I will actually start with one of the best ones, because that will give me an idea of, you know, how much I'm going to like her. So if I really like this one, then I'll probably like the other ones, even if I don't like them as much. But if I don't like this one, then obviously there's not much point in reading her less good ones. So that's my theory anyway. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this one. Yeah, and the same with the Brandon Sanderson books. I might vlog reading this one. It just depends on when I actually get around to reading it. But yeah, that's that one. So I'm going to see if I can lift all these books for the thumbnail. But there's a few. So let's see how I go. Oh god. Okay. I'm sure I can do this. Okay, that was heavy. Okay, so that was my haul for the last couple of months. What did you think of those books? Comment below and let me know if you've read any, what you think of them, if you haven't read them, if you plan to, etc, etc. All of my social media details are in the description below, so if you want to go and find me and have a chat with me on any of those platforms, please do so. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.